They stuck them in there because they wanted them to advance and play PSG.
I have to look it up because I can't remember exactly.
Know.
And Inter Miami, they made it out of the group and they made a ton of money by winning one of their games and drawing the other two. They played really well in that group. They got out of the group.
But also they spend $20 million more than the highest spending team in MLS. So it's like, okay, yeah, you got out of the group, and then what?
Well, so that's what I was getting to. They played PSG earlier this morning and fared way worse than Seattle did. That game was not close for a second of that game.
They scored 4 in the first half.
They scored in the opener in the first 4 minutes of the game. There was not 1 second of that match that was competitive. Maybe
they took the foot off the gas
in the second half when it was already 4-0.
Yeah.
Inter Miami might have had some nice moments, but it's not like it meant anything. So I think they are the only club that got out of their group. You have to give them credit for that. It's not like it was a Mickey Mouse group either.
Yeah, it was.
Inter Miami's group?
Yeah, it was a little Mickey Mouse. But they stuck them in there because they wanted them to advance and play PSG.
I have to look it up because I can't remember exactly.
Well, while you do that, I will say this:
Palmeiras, Porto. Porto's
trash.
They were not good in that
terrible.
game.
Palmeiras went, but they went through.
Al Ahly, we know they're pretty good.
Al Ahly, but they drew them, and we watched that game. That was the craziest match I've ever seen in my life. That was the most insane 0-0. That could have easily been. I think that Inter Miami were lucky to draw that game.
The Al Ahly game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly was not anywhere close to the type of competition that Seattle had to play. So they got their bag off getting those results, and I'm not going to fault them for that. But I don't think
champions.
I don't think it was a trash group, but it's just if we're comparing it to what Seattle had to deal with in the group of death, there is no comparison.
I think if you're gonna power rank the groups, I think that's bottom fourth.
Yeah.
Not like Inter Miami included in that. Like, I think that's just the truth. Messi or not Messi. Like, that's, if you watch the Fuche Ball that they play, they just leak goals all the time. Like, every day. That's their favorite thing to do, other than the Chicago Fire.
You could make an argument that Seattle's overall showing in this tournament was superior to Inter Miami's, even with Seattle not taking a single point. And
they're not going to like that.
And Inter Miami. Well, look at what happened in the PSG game. Was Inter Miami anywhere in the ballpark? No. And the expectation on their team with what they've spent and what they've put together with their roster is fundamentally different than any other MLS club. They're supposed to be the club that can rise to a moment like that. And they just weren't close to that.
And people will say
that, and that's just, I think that's not me being unfair. No. I think that's just reality.
Well, we've seen it time and time again, right? Like, what I have said this, Inter Miami with Messi has been a failure so far. It's been a failure. They haven't won shit that is meaningful to anyone. Their whole goal this year was to win Champions Cup. Couldn't do it. Their whole goal before that was to win MLS Cup. A 48-year-old Brad Guzan, who's now a podcaster, ended their run immediately. You have, what have they won? Leagues Cup?
And the Supporters Shield and set the points record.
Which, okay, you know what? I'll give them that. Like, I think that the Supporters Shield run was great. They looked great for stretches. Tata had them playing, very nice. Tata had them playing nice. But when you talk about trophies that matter in MLS, they've never won one.
I think
League stuff is cool, but they played an easy path and they played an MLS.
Maybe I value the Shield more than you.
I think so.
I think the Shield.
It's an unbalanced league, though.
But it still matters, and it's still, I think, a pretty fair. Even with the balance issues, I think it is a pretty fair reflection of who the best team over the regular season actually was. Especially when you win it in the way that they did with 74 points. That's not nothing. I think failure to me would be if they hadn't won any trophies. Leagues Cup.
There's 7,000 trophies to win, though, in MLS. That's the whole point of MLS. Is
but the Shield
everyone
is
has a trophy to win.
The Shield is
it's the way you qualify for the Club World Cup, Ari.
It's on the significant end. I certainly value it over Leagues Cup. Not as much as Champions Cup, obviously, not as much as MLS Cup, but probably right after those two would be the Shield, unless I'm missing something.
I think here's my problem with the Shield, and this is completely aside, is that it's not like rest of the world type of points race because you're not playing every team. You're not. Your travel is different if you're on the East Coast than if you're on the West Coast. Just the amount of miles that you're traveling based on what teams and what lineup and all this stuff. It's it's not fair. It's not even. You don't play every team. you can't really get a good sense. That said, do I think that on paper and in practice, when they were at their best, was Miami the best team in MLS? Yeah, I mean, that's undeniable, right? Like
we both watched those games when they were at their peak level, and it's some of the best attacking footy that has ever been played in the league.
But there's been a lot of fraudulent Shield winners, is all I'll say. There's been a lot of fraudulent Shield winners. I
don't consider them in that group. I think when you set the points record, that's not really fraudulent.
I think I would value for them. I would value Leagues Cup higher, just simply because the potential competition that they can play is higher. But also Leagues Cup all played in the U.S. No, you know. Blah, blah, blah.
True. I think I would use the term disappointment more than failure. I do put at least a little bit of stock in their Leagues Cup and Supporters Shield's
Miami
record.
Played Orlando City. This is in the knockouts, not in the group stage, because everyone basically goes through in the group stage. Inter Miami played Orlando, beat Orlando. Played FC Dallas, beat FC Dallas. Played Charlotte, beat Charlotte. Played Philly, beat Philly, and then played Nashville in the final and won on PKs. So they didn't meaningfully play a Liga MX team in the knockout. So it's a little bit like, I'll give it to them. Anyone can be good on any day, but I mean, come on.
No, I mean, I think you're, even if I might not take it as far as like categorical failure, I think there's no question that it has not resulted in the trophy haul that was expected. And those expectations, that is part of what comes with bringing in Messi and the Barca boys. You bring that on yourself when you have that type of...
they openly would advocate for that kind of pressure.
Yeah, and they should. But I think it is fair to point out that they have not lived up to that. And there's one thing to lose to PSG. It's the best team in the world. But to be abjectly non-competitive like that...
It's the best player in the world on your team.
And I think there is a question at this point, like, is Messi still the best player in the world? He's still one of.
Sure.
But either way, that doesn't change like the status and expectations that they've got within the league with that roster right now. And
they're all so fucking poorly, though. That's the problem. Is like, you have a coach who has no fucking clue what he's doing. You have a GM who I don't think he's ever like.
Have we heard from him all year?
We haven't heard from him. I don't think he has ever done anything. Like, I don't think he actually know. Like, I think he's just like a puppet guy. And MLS is a crazy, weird league. We talk about this all the time. It's one of the reasons why I love it. But the roster is constructed so goddamn poorly. They've never been able to figure out their defense. They've never been able to figure out how to play their game. Tata had them playing nice. I'll give them that. But they were still vulnerable. The ways that you beat them then were the same ways that you beat them now, but Tata was just minutes managing them way better.
And they were scoring just so many goals that the defensive frailties didn't matter. I remember us talking about that when they were in the process of setting the points record. They were, I will stand by, they were playing the game at as high a level in attack as I have ever seen an MLS club play it, to the point where they were able to set the points record with all these defensive issues that you're alluding to.
Right.
It didn't matter. They could concede 2 to 3 goals a game and they would still win every game because they would score 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And that was just how it was.
Yeah, but every result they took was like 5 to 3.
5 to 2, 5 to 3, 4 to 2, 4 3. Yeah. And, you know, that is one way to live if you're able to have Messi and the Barca boys just looking like 2011, 2012 Barcelona against MLS defenses.
Yeah.
But I think what we're seeing this year is, as they have another year of mileage on their legs, and you're inevitably, when you're talking about guys that are not just in their mid-30s, but like late 30s, you're not going to have them available for even probably 70% of the minutes that you need to soak up in a given year with all these competitions and all these games. And when that happens, like what's your plan B? What can you go to? What can you tap into to offset the fact that you don't have the Barca boys firing at that level? Game in, week in, week out. And they have not had that good of a season in league play. I think they're at like 1.6 something points per game right now. I'm about to look it up, but it's not something that much more.
1.8.
Okay, so they're back
50%.
They have been better in league play the last few weeks.
They've also played less games. They are by far behind, besides the White. Actually, I think the Caps have caught up, but they've only played 16 league games.
Yeah.
Which, like, that's part of it, is like they've been in every tournament under the sun. But
they're in a solid spot in league play right now, but it's not
with
like,
how many
not
games
what
in
it was
hand
last
they have,
year.
they could still make a shield push. Like
And-
it's not impossible.
And
That's all the
going
win, but
going back to MLS play, like they probably, I imagine they probably will.
they'll take all their frustration
tap into
out
that
on
more.
Montreal,
Yeah.
who they play next.
Well, and it's like, yeah, Mascherano, I don't know if he knows what he's doing
Or
either,
Montreal is what I was saying.
but like he doesn't need to know what he's doing to like get that team be taking results.
I disagree,
So,
but you know, I think that
he's got him at 1.8 with not knowing what he's doing.
with 16
really.
games,
Yeah,
we'll see how it bears out in 20 and 30 and whatever. But I'm still scared because here's the problem: when you play in all these tournaments, now they're gonna have to backload their schedule.
right.
That's brutal. It doesn't matter who you are. It
And
doesn't
you
matter how
cannot
deep your
you
team
cannot
is.
have the Barca boys out there for all those minutes. You can't.
I am waiting for the day if Messi gets injured, quote unquote, or real. I think the whole team falls apart. I think he leaves.
You think he leaves the team?
What else is it? He's failed winning anything. Why would he stay there?
Oh, maybe he likes living in South Beach or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe.
Well,
Anyway, Messi era in the comments. Has it been a failure? What do you think?